Good morning, everybody. Aloha, and welcome to Just Talking 24, page 47. Well, first of all, I'd like to wish all of you a very, very happy Thanksgiving. And I hope your day goes pretty much problem free. The turkey comes out well if you eat turkey. Um, Today, I'm going to talk about something that the world really needs. And it stems from my two major, I have two rules. Okay. I have five idioms and I have different living theories. But my two rules are real simple. And it's rules that I believe are universal rules for this world, how the world goes. Number one is, and I don't want to get religious, but I'm spiritual. So, number one is there is a God. Any, all of the religions say, there is a God. So there must be, not there must be, but I see it all around the world. But I don't want to get into that. I want to get into the second rule. And the second rule is you treat others as you want to be treated yourself. That's the golden rule. I mean, that's what we learned from from when we're babies. You just treat each other, just be even with each other. That's all. And out of that comes this week's word. That's, that's what it's called working into, right? Every week is a word. But the word this week is what the world needs now. And it's not love, folks. It's Aretha Franklin. Her song, Respect. Respect. And respect is you basically that is treating each other, treating others as you would want to be treated. You understand your own, you know, your own set of values, and you just give it to the other people. You're just showing respect. And I see all these, I don't know if it's over dramatizations or what's happening in the world, but people have lost respect for each other. Um, they've lost to think of each other. They only think of themselves, and their goal is the best. They're especially in America where we have these constitutional rights that we've blown up to think that they're just for us alone. No, these rights actually should be for the whole world, but it's not going to happen. And I mean, because look at the mess that America's in right now, right? Um, I can't, you know, there's nothing. Okay, government is back in session. The people getting their food stamps, which I don't qualify, by the way. Um, never did. Really, you know. Again, I blame that on my parents. Our parents taught us to work hard, save your money, put together, a nice, nest egg. And then when your income goes from 200,000 to zero because, of circumstances and you apply for these things, government comes back and says, no, we can't help you because even though you're not making anything, you own too much. Well, that's because don't you guys say put away for a rainy day? But it's not a rainy day yet. I'm not ready to retire. But they say, nope, you've got it, so we can't help you. So in other words, I got to become indigent so that you can help me. And they go, yeah, yeah. That's what they want. They want a whole bunch of poor people. But then I knew that was happening. I had to try. Um, but anyway, go back to respect. And respect is it's just decent. It's just being decent. That's all. Look what happened in Michigan. No, Chicago. Excuse me, Chicago. That that mother with her two children was beaten up by, they said 20 to 30 9, 10, and 11-year-olds or something like that. I mean, kids. and they just beat her to a pulp. They sent her to the hospital. What? It's it just blows. You cannot make this kind of stuff up. Hollywood in its worst days would not make this stuff up. I mean, yeah, they had birds, birds running amok, and they had dogs running amok, and they had trucks running amok. Children of the Corn, yeah, they ran amok, but they were killing. This is real life, man. This is not fiction anymore. It's really sad. Yeah. By the way, if something looks a little different, I'm using a different mic this morning. If I sound different, that's why. I'm using my condenser mic. I haven't used it for a while, so just thought I'd bring it out and test out the system, if the system works with it. So let me know if I sound any different. I hope not. But anyway, getting back to respect. Respect has to be earned. Okay, understand that. Understand that really well. It has to be earned. Fear, on the other hand, doesn't have to be earned. It is demanded. The respect is demanded with fear. Okay. And it's harder to earn someone's respect, but it's more enduring. It's more it's a longer respect. I mean, I see people that I knew from high school. And in high school, I didn't go around, pounding people or anything. I talked to people and I smiled and I treated everybody like how I wanted to be treated. I was, really nice. And that's what they'll say. He was a nice guy. Yet, when he was mad, do not get him mad. It's because they knew my limits, right? And that's respect when they do that. When, when I was towing, okay, go back to the towing, and the person who designed the Batmobile and the ZZ Top's 32 Ford and their Volkswagen, when he brought his cars down from the mainland to our car show, he told the promoter of the car show, I want this man to tow my cars. I didn't know the guy, okay? I didn't know him. But what had happened was, on a Saturday night, I had a rent-a-car break down on me in East Oahu. And he called, well, those days you call 411, the telephone company, information. And you asked them for the nearest towing company. And in those days, there were two that were east of Kapahulu Avenue, which is considered East Oahu. And Kapahulu Avenue is the main avenue that runs right into Waikiki, and on the east side. And those two companies were TLC Towing, Tender Loving Care, my company, and another one called, it looked like Hides Towing, HIDE', but it's pronounced Hides. It was a Japanese owner. But I also owned that company too, so I owned both of them. And for some strange reason, the other guys that towed in my area did not bother to subscribe with the phone company, which is really weird. But that's neither. Well, that was a plus for me because I got all the, after hours tows from the east side. But anyway, he called me up, and I went out to pick him up, and his rent-a-car was from Budget. And it just so happened that I did tow for Budget. And it wasn't a steady account, but they knew me. And they had a 24-hour drop-off procedure that I knew about. And so I told them, well, I said, perfect. I can take care of this. And then you go down tomorrow to the nearest Budget office in Waikiki, and you explain to them what happens. And they'll take care of the tow. No problem on that. And he was really impressed. And so he asked if he could ride in with me. I said, oh, yeah, no problem. I said, I'll drop you off at your hotel. But he wanted to ride all the way to the drop-off point at the airport. And if I could drop him off at his hotel on the way back. And, at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning, hey, no problem. And so we talked all the way in and everything. And before he left, he asked if I had any cards. And of course, right, I always got cards. So I gave him some of my cards. Well, this guy knew that I forgot his name. I want to say Bill Bassel or something like that, Bob Bassel or Bob something. But anyway, he built the Batmobile. He built ZZ Top's cars. And he told the promoter, because he was good friends with this guy that I told. And the guy told him, if you take your cars to Hawaii, you have this guy to him. You know, I guess, I impressed him with my service and my professionalism and my weird personality. He doesn't know. But anyway, when the cars came, he told the promoter, I want this guy towing. And so the promoter called me up and he goes, do you know so and so? And I told him, no. He says, well, I'm bringing in the Batmobile and I'm bringing in ZZ Top's 32 Ford. I said, okay. He says, can you tow him from the docks to the exhibition hall? We have an exhibition hall in town. I told him, yeah, I can do that. But I don't want to do it during the day because too much traffic. He goes, well, when will you do it? I said, well, let me go make a couple of calls and I'll get back to you. So what I did was I called my friend who works at the docks. And I told him, and he knew the cars were coming in. I told him, any chance of me getting in at night? I'm going to come in with my escort. And I had 2 police officers that were going to give me escorts. I said, I'm going to come through the gate with my escort, pick up the cars, and then take them to the exhibition hall. Come back, pick up the second car, and take them to the exhibition hall. And he said, I can handle that. I'll let security know, and then security will take you to and it was in a secured area, right? It was covered. It was in a covered warehouse. So I said, okay. So we made the arrangements, and I told the promoter, yeah, the arrangements are made, and I went down, and to make a long story short, it went really smooth. Although towing the Batmobile, we caused, I think, 3 accidents. Because, going the other way. And, of course, I got my work light shining on the Batmobile. You see the Batmobile, right? And people see that, and, they're driving, and, they're holding onto the car, and they're looking like that, and they don't see the car in front of them stop. And so the policeman behind me told me, hey, we caused 3 code ones. I said, all right. And all it cost the promoter was 2 multi-day family passes. In other words, you have this family pass, you bring in as many people as you want, as many times as you want for all the days that the exhibition was going on, the car show was going on. And I wanted only 2 because I wanted 1 for each of my police officers. And the reason, and people tell me, you crazy. I told him why. He says, you know what kind of money you could make on that kind of tows? I told him, that's the type of publicity that you cannot buy. And it was true. Because the funny part was, that truck that I had was my new truck, and I didn't put any I never put lettering on that truck. Yet everybody knew that truck. It was really weird. You tell anybody in automotive, oh, the blue and yellow truck. Well, immediately they know, oh, that's Cam's truck. It was blue and yellow, blue cab, yellow back, and I made it that way so that people would remember me. That's my colors. It's like the Tuskegee Airmen. They had the red tails on their P-51 Mustangs. So when you saw the red tail, you immediately knew they were from Tuskegee. They were from Italy. Same thing, same principle. A lot of times you let colors. You don't let words. You let colors. People remember colors more than words. And so that's what I did. And it was. I got quite a few calls because of that. And I had to turn away. Well, I turned away 1 because, and I told you about that deal, about another dealership, and I told him to take a flying, But it's out of respect. People respected me. They may not have liked me. I know other competitors. They don't like me, but they respected me, and that's all it is. Respect. When the reputed head of the local crime syndicate was in hospital, and I went in and talked to him. Why did he talk to me so openly? Out of respect. He knew me from before, and I never crossed him. And it's respect. You you don't demand the respect. You earn the respect, and you earn the respect by just treating people the way you want to be treated and be straight. That's all it is, folks. That's how simple it is. And that's what the world needs more. We gotta treat everybody equally. And it's hard when people act like how they're acting. I don't know why, all of a sudden they think they can act like animals. And, they can, well, look at those six, senators that's abdicating, we ought to overturn the government. By definition, that's treason. No, really. And, President Trump is doing exactly what he's pointing it out. According to our Constitution, what those six senators Democratic senators are doing constitutes treason. And it is, in 1950s, right, they put that husband and wife, but that was for spying. But they were convicted of treason and they were put to death. It's still in the books, folks. Treason is you trying to undermine the whole government. And that's what they're doing. They're saying stand up to, to stand up to Trump because they think Trump is a dictator, fascist, king. He's not. He's doing everything by the law. And these people want the power so bad, but they can't get it that way. So they're scaring everybody by doing it. But what they're doing is undermining the U.S. So it is treasonistic. It is an act of treason. And at least they should be in prison. At least. Stripped of their jobs and in prison. And these, I don't know if they're lawyers. And I would suspect that, statistically, 1 out of 6 is. And yet they're doing that kind of stuff. You see what I mean? It just doesn't make sense why they would. No common sense no more common sense. But they're so inebriated by their power. Yeah, they're on a power high that's they're so used to having it. And now they don't. And this is what they do. But you cannot claim, what they're going to claim? Insanity. Then what are they doing being senators, right? So they can't claim insanity. But what they're doing is undermining the government of the United States. Plain and true. And that's what it is. And so Trump just says what the laws are. He is citing constitutional right. That it's his right to say that. Because he's being attacked personally. He's being attacked. His office, the office of the President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief, is being undermined and attacked. And these other senators are telling the soldiers, don't listen to the orders. That's chaos. If you don't have discipline in the military, you don't have a military. If you don't have a military, there goes your nation. Because who's going to protect it? I mean, the Bobby Joe and his boys down south can do only so much shooting. But believe me, when 12 of you guys are together and a grenade comes in, it was nice knowing you guys. But that's what these senators are doing. And I don't know if they don't see it or they want their way so bad they don't care. It's sad to see. And I know it's part of the always calling the degradation of society. Oh, but it's fascinating and it's sad. I mean, there's no other word for it. I mean, you see, it's disgust. You just, your heart just drops because you understand what's happening. And like I said, it's like watching a terminally ill person. You know they're gonna die, and you see them every day, and you watch and you see them, diminish slowly, slowly, slowly. But when they finally happens, and when they finally do pass, you're really not prepared for that. You really aren't. Um, yeah, and we've all. I hope. I think you've all gone through it. I have. Um, and it's a reality. Death is a reality. It's one of the few realities in life that you can count on. You're gonna die, but the process in which you get to it, the pathway. In my wildest dreams, I would never think that they would actively do this. I mean, you see movies about it, and then you hear other countries having, military coups and government coup, and this is basically that's what it is. It's a coup, but you would think that they would have more sense and more faith and more belief in the system, then they would just dispel the system and just call to arm. Just just do it. Don't worry about the system. Although they are in the system, you know. But then they cannot. The Democrats don't have any. They don't have the vote. So what do? Tell the military not to listen. That's really going to help. But yeah, I think President Trump, the DOJ is going to look into those people, because the stupid thing did was they put it over the air. Well, once it goes on the internet, it stays on the internet. So I mean, right there that's the nails in the coffin. And so Pam Bondi, Pam Bondi, she doesn't have enough other jobs to do. She will be looking into that. President Trump will look into that. But yeah, no respect, and these guys demand it. So how much respect you think I got for them? Yeah, right. See, respect is earned. Earn it. It takes longer, but it lasts longer, and it's a better quality. Sure, people can fear you. People can fear you. Um, like you guys know, I'm a big boy, and when people see me, if they don't know me, they fear me. And then once the fear goes away, there goes the respect. No, then they become more friendly. They become more open. That is the respect. And it's funny. Like I told you, when I first started at the hospital, they thought that I was the director of nursing spy, because my doctor knew the DON, the director of nursing, or you know, and he told her to bring me in. So I was pulled right in. And, you know how word gets around, right? And so word got around that the department of, the director of nursing, she brought this boy in. So this guy is her spy. And so I was not liked. I was looked at with a lot of suspicion. But then once I started working and they saw that, that this guy he's the real deal. He knows what he's doing, and he's working ICU. And the nurses in ICU are saying, "No, this guy is good. He knows what he's doing." And he has merit. He wasn't brought in because of a favor. He's brought in because he knows what he's doing. And once that goes away, and then once they got used to my size, that's the thing, to get used to my size. There goes all respect, man. And then they start the practical jokes. They start the regular jokes. Yeah, and I just laugh, and we develop a relationship, and that's when the magic happens. When you develop a good working relationship, and then you get their respect. And then from there, I went to the union, and then I became an officer, and then I started fighting. Then they started asking for me because I was such a good orator. I could, I was a good mediator. I could mediate an equitable settlement that'll, both people can kind of that what's good for the hospital. That's all it is. It's good for the patient. That was my primary concern. Everything I did was good for the good of the patient. And if I fought to have certain employees fired, I did, even though and had one that the for some reason the union didn't want this person fired, and the person had literally over an inch thick file, and they said no. And I said, why? It's detrimental to the patient care. What this person is doing is bad for patient care. The union didn't care. The hospital pulled right back, and it was me to the union, and she ended up getting fired. Was a female, but yeah, I don't feel bad about it because it was the best for my patients. My patient, like I said, my number one priority was patient care. And you try and do it the most economical ways because, yeah, you don't want to waste money, but you do want competent, professional patient care. And I guess you know, that's out of respect. I would want the same thing. And so I just give what I get. And it's, the golden rule, and that's respect. That's what respect comes out of. So when Thanksgiving Day is coming, right? And we give thanks. But also, let's give a prayer. Yeah. After Thanksgiving comes the Christmas time and goodwill to all men. And just try and be a little more patient with people. Give them give them respect first. And if if they just suck it up and give you nothing back, hey, cut the line. Just, but offer the olive leaf, olive branch. Yeah, be first. And I just want you guys to all have a great Thanksgiving. I gotta go buy my bird today. It's Friday, and I'm gonna buy my bird, thaw him out, brine him, cook him, and then eat him. Actually, my wife doesn't like the turkey. She likes the juk after. We make juk. I make juk with the turkey. That's what she wants. She wants the juk, and she loves making turkey. I guess you'd call it Thanksgiving sandwiches. You get everything. You get the turkey, you get the stuffing, you get the mashed potato, you get the cranberry sauce. Put them between two pieces of bread and cover them with gravy. That's her favorite meal. Yeah, a Thanksgiving. Well, I call it Thanksgiving sandwich. But anyway, I hope you and yours have a great one. Everything comes out all right. I love you guys very much. Like and subscribe. I'm fighting to get the subscription icon on my, on the bottom, this corner over here in this area. And hope I get it. I'm gonna see this week if it's on, but we'll see. But anyway, just want to tell you all, ahui ho, malama pono, and always from me to yours and you. Aloha.